I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 188. I'm starting to lose track.
89.
189. I don't know what. Really?
Yeah.
You said 188?
187.5 was the half one. And then...
188 was last week.
What was last week? This is 189.
189. And as I said, I'm starting to lose track of what number we're on. As we rapidly approach our 200th episode. We'll have to do something special. Who knows?
A clown.
Yeah.
Another
so,
clown.
The big story this week is what we talked about briefly at the end of last week's episode, and that is Star Wars #1 from Marvel. It is my pick of the week. It is Josh's pick of the week. It is Alex's pick of the week, who also works in the front of the shop. So we're 3 for 3 on Star Wars being the book to get. The book to get. Let me rephrase that, or put some intonation into that, some emphasis. It is the book to get this week. Especially if you're a Star Wars fan. If you've never heard of Star Wars before, I don't know if I would pick this book up. And you should get out more often. Written by Jason Aaron, artwork by John Cassaday. This is the beginning of Marvel's second wave, second genesis of Star Wars. Of course, Marvel Comics launched Star Wars comics back in 1976. I don't know if you knew this, before the movie even came out.
And in a lot of ways, Star Wars and the money from the adaptation saved Marvel Comics. They were in some dire financial straits.
Yes.
And
well,
that
they
was the start of
initially
turning it around.
They turned it down because they didn't want it, and then the Lucasfilm people said, well, you can do it for free, or we'll give it to you for free. So they didn't have to pay a licensing fee. That was renegotiated, of course, after the film came out, and it made $1 bajillion. And then in the 80s, late 70s, or in the early 80s, early mid-80s, Star Wars was saving Marvel when they were going through some tough times. And then, of course, Marvel didn't renew the license in 1986, 1987, and Dark Horse got the license in 1989, published Heir to the Empire, or Dark Empire, one of those.
Well, the adaptation. Well, Dark Empire is the comic.
Okay,
Heir to the Empire was the novel that
Dark
Zahn
Empire
did, which they did an adaptation
was an
of.
original comic sequel to Return of the Jedi. Was very dark. Not super dark, but not Quentin Tarantino.
No, it was pretty dark.
It was dark, and part of it was the artwork
Yeah.
that made it that way. But it was awesome, and that made Dark Horse, the keeper of the Star Wars license for 25 years, until now, when now that Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, everybody is in an incestuous relationship, and Marvel is publishing Star Wars. So it's back where it started, and this story picks up after A New Hope, and Jason Aaron just nails it. Jason Aaron is one of the best writers working in comics right now. He can do everything. He does mainstream superhero, he does creator-owned dark gritty stuff, and now he's doing sci-fi adventure, adapting a licensed work, and telling new exciting stories that I was crazy about. John Cassaday, I was a little nervous about how his artwork would work here, and my fears were groundless. I think that Cassaday did an amazing job capturing the likenesses of the actors, of the characters, of the settings. It's just a really rich, amazing looking environment, and Aaron really captures the essence of the characters as well. The characterizations, the dialogue, it all sounds about right. But the one I don't remember specifics with this, but it seems like, much like George Lucas did with the prequels, they like to riff on and reuse certain lines that are famous from the original trilogy. And thinking back now, I read this like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I don't think that Aaron does that, but there are a couple situations.
There's a few.
Yeah. Despite that, this book is amazing. I hope we have a long life with Star Wars over at Marvel, and Aaron writing this. Next out of the gate is a Darth Vader ongoing series written by Kieran Gillen with artwork by Carlos Pacheco, and then we get a Princess Leia miniseries written by Mark Waid with artwork by Terry Dotson, so that's coming down the road as well. Thoughts?
I loved it, and I think one of the thing that I liked the most about it was how cinematic it felt. The transitions from page to page and from area to area as information was revealed to you, it felt like watching a Star Wars movie, and that's something I will take any day of the week.
I will take a Star Wars movie as long as it isn't episode 1 through 3. Thank you.
It's better than no Star Wars movie.
Yeah. So Star Wars, go get it.
Go.
Odds are your local shop has it.
Next up, we've got Conan Red Sonja #1, a joint effort from Dark Horse and Dynamite, written by Gail Simone, who's of course the regular writer on Red Sonja, and Jim Zub, who is known for writing anything with a sword in it. And art by Dan Fennison? Panosian.
Danny's been around for a while.
Danny Panosian. And colors by Dave Stewart, like everything else.
From the
Dark Horse. And this is actually really solid. This is the start of a mini-series that crosses over Conan and Red Sonja. This is relatively early days. We see what we assume is their first meeting. And they do a nice job of bringing the characters together. I think Conan and Red Sonja, because they are archetypes, because they're sort of these core characters to the sword and sorcery genre, they tend to sometimes be a little overdone, a little cliched, and I think they played against type a little here, and it made it really cool for me. I like the blending, I like the dialogue. It's just a fun adventure fantasy book featuring two of the most famous characters in adventure fantasy. And it definitely had some of the Simone feel for subverting what you expect to happen. But yeah, Conan Red Sonja, lots of fun.
Issue 1, pick it up.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so we didn't get to talk about S.H.I.E.L.D. Issue number 1 because we didn't do a video that week that it came out, but we've got S.H.I.E.L.D. issue number 2, and it's apparently twice a month, I think.
It's been 3 weeks, right?
Okay. So yeah, and technically the first issue was in December. So this is issue number 2. It's inspired by the hit TV series S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just called S.H.I.E.L.D. And this is the TV show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. meets the Marvel Universe that you can't do on TV or in movies because of licensing and money and all kinds of stuff. So the first issue, we had S.H.I.E.L.D. with a whole bunch of Avengers and Spider-Man and all kinds of characters. This issue, and this issue is Ms. Marvel is the featured player. And one of the nice things about this book is that it's a done-in-one, it's a standalone. It's very much a throwback to the original Marvel Team-Up series, where it's going to be characters from S.H.I.E.L.D. and fill in the blank with a Marvel hero. I really love the character of Ms. Marvel, so I was sold on this before I even opened the book. And then when you throw in writing by Mark Waid and artwork by Humberto Ramos, with our two primary S.H.I.E.L.D. players being Phil Coulson and Gemma Simmons, it's gold. It's just so good. Coulson and Simmons are undercover in Kamala Khan's high school, trying to find a high school student who's selling old bad guy tech on the black market, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens. And Kamala Khan is this century's Phil Coulson. You know, she is the big Marvel Universe fan person who knows everything about everybody, the same way that Phil Coulson is being portrayed in the comics and in some of the films as well. As you know, he had the Captain America trading cards, he knows all the stats, he's really, you know, nervous when he meets Steve Rogers for the first time. And you know, it's kind of nice to see Coulson and Kamala kind of bond over that, but Coulson is also trying to be very protective of her because she is a new hero, she's a young hero, and she hasn't really been exposed to a lot of the big bads of the Marvel Universe. So another done-in-one, highly recommended, especially if you're a Ms. Marvel fan. If you're a fan of the TV show and you've never picked up a comic book before, I don't know why you're watching us, but you should pick up this series, much as you should pick up the Operation Sin book that we talked about last week. Just good stuff.
Yeah, and I think especially the way we're seeing Coulson is improved by the fact that Mark Waid's writing the book. Other than being super talented,
other than also, Mark Waid being Coulson, right? Or Coulson being Mark Waid.
Basically, yeah. I mean, Mark Waid's generally known as the most knowledgeable man in comics. You know, they used to have panels where you try to stump Mark Waid at conventions and ask him questions he can't answer, and it usually doesn't happen. He knows Superman's social security number. So, and him writing Coulson and the interplay is just amazing. I super love that book. All right, next up, a book that is not for me, but it may be for you. Mortal Kombat X. This is the start of a Mortal Kombat series by DC Comics, and it is about Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I'm not sure where it falls continuity-wise in the games. I believe it's after the games we've seen so far. But it's completely outside of the context of a tournament, but we get appearances by a number of different characters that you've seen in the games. And it's actually a really interesting story about redemption, and you've got stuff in the future and the past. You know, you see young versions of people and older versions of people, and it's... I don't even know why I'm talking. When I said Mortal Kombat X, you either said, oh, I need to buy that, or no, I don't. And you were right. If Mortal Kombat gets you excited, you should buy this. If Mortal Kombat doesn't, maybe pass.
Then pick another of the books.
But, right? But it was good. I'm a tangential Mortal Kombat fan, but I found the story very interesting. So
well, good.
It may be good for you.
I have to come back and revisit a book that I've talked about a couple times before, and that's Copperhead by Jay Ferber and this other guy, Godlewski. What is your first name? Scott Godlewski. So this is issue number 5 of Copperhead, and this is the end of the first story arc. The first trade will be available next month, followed by issue number 6, which of course starts the second arc in March. Copperhead is so good. It's for people who enjoy things like Firefly and and strong female lead characters. I had a conversation with someone yesterday about strong female role models in comics, and I think that the main character in Copperhead would fit that to a T. It's a whodunit. It's a mystery. There are a lot of unanswered questions as we get through this first story arc about the backstory of the sheriff and the whole artificial intelligence people that are out there, and the fact that by the end of this first arc, there are relationships formed that you didn't necessarily see happening in the first few issues. Just one of the best written comics out there, and the artwork is really nice too. So this is my plea to you to pick up Copperhead, either in single issues or in collected edition when that first trade comes out in February. I believe that you will not be disappointed.
And if your earlier efforts to pick up Copperhead were stymied by the third issue being out of print, there is a second printing coming in a couple weeks that should help you out there. But I think Farber does a great job. Ferber.
Like Gerber.
Yes.
But with an F.
Or Furby, but with a... Anyway, I think he does a great job of creating memorable characters and relationships. Because a lot of times, I mean, we read a lot of books every week, and especially with a new indie book where the entire cast is new, sometimes 2 or 3 issues in, I'll have to go back and reread the previous ones just to kind of get it best set in my mind. But Copperhead, every time, straight through, I immediately recognize the characters, their personalities, their relationships. It's very well put together.
And if you're already a fan of Copperhead, might I suggest some other works by Jay Ferber, including Noble Causes, which was his superhero family drama.
It's like Dallas, kind of.
Yeah.
but with superheroes.
For a long time. Dynamo 5 is another one that I would highly recommend. And he's got some cool stuff coming out down the road. There's a preview of his new superhero series in the back of this issue of Copperhead. And then he's got the one with the cops and the vampires, and I can't remember what it's called. The cops and the Oh, that's my Bill Cosby impersonation that just appeared. No comments necessary. Copperhead, love it.
And this is a damn you, Tom Taylor. Justice, Gods Among Us, Year 3, issue number 7, just kind of broke my heart. In a good way, I guess. All right, the book's 3 years old, so we're just going to throw it out there. The first issue of Injustice, long ago, Superman is tricked into killing Lois, who is pregnant with his child, by the Joker. And
wait, she's pregnant with his child by the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. The child is not the Joker's. The child is
like that time
Superman's.
when John Constantine and Swamp Thing. It doesn't matter. And that's basically driven the entire story from then on. Something incredibly horrible happens to someone who's good, and then you see what happens next, and then what happens after that. This issue, in the previous issue, Superman was, I guess, I don't know, magicked. But he's in a magical slumber. And this entire issue is his dream, and he's getting his perfect world. His world where those things didn't happen, and the kid grew up.
Wait a minute. This has been done before.
Oh, of course it has.
Okay.
But it still broke my heart.
And with this,
yeah, but that was a long time ago.
That was Alan Moore. That was Alan Moore Superman.
Yeah, the issue's still not great.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it's dated. But
I still love Injustice.
Yes, so. And it's just heartbreaking to see this world knowing what you know about how it really went.
Wait a minute. That happened to Peter Parker, too. In House of M.
Don't care. Still awesome. And painful. And just a FYI, if you're excited for Secret Wars that Marvel's been teasing lately, the word on the street is the start of Secret War is in Avengers number 40, where one Avenger kills another Avenger.
For reals.
Ooh. It's pretty for reals. I don't know how you come back from that. But, so if you're someone who likes to jump in and find drama, this may be a place to start.
Give you a hint. The one that gets killed might be set up at another movie studio. The one that does the killing, Marvel still owns. Figure it out.
Actually, I guess there was 2 of them that did the killing. It was sort of a team up, and they're both have movies coming out from Marvel. So,
woo! That's awesome. All right. awesome kind of week. The excitement in the shop is palpable around Star Wars. We've had a steady stream of folks coming in, picking up Star Wars. Many that maybe aren't regular comic readers, but they're excited about a new Star Wars comic. The year of Star Wars, which is going to be a long year because we have to go until damn December before we get the movie. Summertime, folks. That's when it's supposed to happen. But hopefully, wherever you are, your comic shop is hopping as well. They're moving a lot of Star Wars. People are enjoying comics. And there's just so much cool stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about it because we're trying to keep these under 15 minutes. So, to be continued. We'll talk some more. We'll be back next week to talk more about comics we like and other things going on in the comic book industry. Until then, stay safe. Oh, I should have said may the force be with you. What the hell?